Welcome to Fantasy Football Hub. I'm here with Big Man Bakar. Bakar! I didn't adjust one thing. And this is going to make everyone very happy. If they look below us, they're going to see two big fat red arrows. But if they look now, it's the wrong bloody thing. It's chaos on the stream. John Nellis has messed everything up. Bakar, you're going to see what I mean when you look back. Right, here we go. Got it. Here's the they look and they will see that you have a massive green arrow. That's what was meant to happen. So you have a huge green arrow. You knocked it out of the park this week. Do you know what? I don't even want to ask you how your week went. We all know how it went. I'm going to lob your team up on the screen and you can tell us about it. 80 points.
Yeah.
Talk to us, Bakar.
Yeah, it was one of the best. It was one of the best weeks of the season. Thanks for having me, John. Everything just went according to plan. I mean, I sort of halved my rank and given myself a really good platform this week. And if I get another green arrow in Gameweek 6, we're going after Gameweek 8 and 9. I think I've pulled things back this week. A lot of people, unfortunately, fell victim to the FPL server crash this weekend, and that created a lot of controversy. And that shouldn't be on, to be very honest. I want to talk about it first, John, because it's a game we put so much time into. You know, people watch podcasts, read articles, read statistics, and then if you fall victim to something which is not in your control, it's just very unfortunate, and it just sort of ruins the fun in the game, right? I was fortunate enough to make my transfers. Somehow, I mean, I received the news that Haaland wasn't starting and Foden wasn't starting. I owned both of them, and there wasn't much time to think. I mean, I barely took a couple of minutes in my head to process, and by the time I had sort of decided the moves that I wanted to bring in De Bruyne as the captain and Alvarez to target the Fulham game for a hit, I wasn't able to make the moves because the server crashed. But fortunately, I resorted to the app, and I was somehow able to me an error right till the end. But the transfers did go through, and thankfully, I was able to luck out, and I was one of the fortunate ones who benefited from it. So, yeah, it's just one of those things. We can't really say much about it.
Yeah, and I've seen a few things about this on Twitter, and I've seen, obviously people saying, you're trying to cheat by getting early team news and stuff, but ultimately the game is the game, and, don't hate the player, hate the game. If that is the deadline, that is the deadline, and you've got to play it the best you possibly can as a player. So people waiting until the deadline, it's the deadline for a reason. I seen an analogy on Twitter, and I forget who it was. It could have been FPL made it. It was someone, and it was like, if the train is scheduled for 1:30 and you land up at 1:23 and the train left 10 minutes ago, whose fault is it? Is it yours for leaving it too late, even though you're 7 minutes early? Or is it the train companies for bolting too early? It's not the player's fault for coming in to make their transfers 5 minutes before the deadline, because quite often even the best players in the game preach, make your transfers as close to the deadline as possible, because we might get team news, someone might be injured, a game could be postponed, particularly with the COVID era. People are even more ingrained to make their transfers late. So yeah, on that front, I in a sense fell victim. I'm not going to blame it, because I don't know how much I would or wouldn't have changed. I likely would have got rid of Foden. Don't know who for, because I had a free transfer in the bank, so I actually rolled the transfer in the end because I left one transfer to that point. So I made one, obviously. I made one early in the week to bring Wilson in, and I had one in the bank, and I was going to leave it right until the end, and I obviously couldn't use it. So look, I've got two going into next week. It is what it is. But would I have brought in Alvarez? Possibly. I don't know. Would I have brought in another midfielder? Probably would have got rid of Foden had I known he was benched. In fact, 100%. Yeah, I would have. So, I'm a victim, but I'm not a mad victim. I'm not going to cry about it. I'm a victim to a bigger thing this week. But, Bakar, we'll get on to that. Your team here, whatever about Pope, unfortunate with the clean sheet wipeout. Trippier still managed 12 points, which is incredible. Trent with a 2 and Cancelo with a -2 cancelling each other out. But your midfield smashed it. Salah, Zaha, De Bruyne captain, and Andreas actually played for you. That's a big win.
Yeah, I had Andrews as my first. Yeah, Andrews as my first sub, came in for Mitrovic. I had Andrews on the bench on the bench because I thought he'd be Fulham's main outlet going forward, and I didn't really trust Neko or Gehi to keep a clean sheet. So that's something which fell in my favor. And this is one of the rare times this season where I've actually benefited from Andrews's points, because more often than not, when everyone around me has been benefiting from his points, I've had him on my bench. So that feels like a huge victory. Same for Zaha, because again, that's the Foden news. If Foden was starting, I might have sold Zaha. I'm not entirely sure. I could have saved a transfer. I could have sold Zaha, but selling Zaha for Rashford was something I was considering. So I'm glad that Foden didn't start, and I sort of benefited from it. And yeah, even though I sold Haaland, I got Alvarez and I got De Bruyne, and they got me a decent number of points. Could have been much more, but it means that I have to take a hit again next week to bring Haaland back. But I think I've made enough gains this week to take a hit to bring Haaland back. There's no way I want to bet against his ridiculous ownership. And even, I saw him the other day, 25 minutes in against Fulham. I mean, he is scary. He is absolutely scary. Not owning him in that game, even for 20, 25 minutes, was frightening, to be very honest. And I don't want to put myself through that experience. I'll take the hit, bring him back. He'll probably be my captain, and I'll just make sure that this week with the safe team, so that I can end on a high before the World Cup.
When I look at, sorry, I'm just getting my team set up here. When I look at Haaland in that game, I watched it. When he scored that header, I was like, oh no. Well, I was actually kind of happy because I had him, but I think because I didn't captain him, that it wasn't benefiting me really. So I was just kind of like, ugh. But when he scored, anyway, take FPL out of it, looking at him, when he came on and scored that header, it was just the most textbook goal in the world. Kevin De Bruyne across. I could see it like 3 steps before it happened. Like, this is what's going to happen. It's going to get to De Bruyne. And it happened. I was like, these guys are just inevitable. You can't stop them even if you know what's going to happen. Disallowed, whatever else. Penalty late in the game. And he took his shirt off. I assume he got the yellow for that. I seen him celebrating, but I didn't check if he got the yellow. I assume he did, because he got 5 points, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, it cost him 1 bonus as well.
Cost him a bonus. So, yeah, Haaland, I wouldn't be going without him. I'm happy I've kept him. But look, you've smashed it this week, Bakar. You've halved your rank, which is incredible. I'm going to bring you on a little journey in my game week. So, pre-deadline, honestly, kind of jokingly, but kind of liked it and stand by the decision. I captained Cancelo, and if I scroll back in our chat, I sent you a little message at what time? Let me see. What time did I send you the message? At 12:47,
30 minutes before the deadline.
12:47, I messaged you saying, "Is Cancelo captain mad?" And you said it isn't at all, but Haaland is apparently starting. So you threw me in the mud, right? And then I said,
"That's the news that was coming in at that point."
I said,
early news that day seemed to suggest that he was going to start. Yeah.
I said, "Let's go, do it with me." And you put like a little teary-eyed emoji at the fact that Haaland's apparently starting. I said, come on, heroes, me and you, together, 2 best friends taking on the world. And you told me you were still scarred from game week 9. And then said, because last time we went against Haaland, everyone went great. And I said, and then at 1:17, I said, I had the armband on Cancelo and it's crashed. Oh, beep, like bad word. And yeah. That's where I ended up. Armband on Cancelo. And honestly, pre-game, Bakar, back me up on this. It wasn't a bad call. When I had Haaland and Foden starting from the bench, I didn't want to get rid of Haaland. I did feel he'd be dangerous from the bench. I didn't want to take the hit in his value. I know it's not that much. I get it all. But I just didn't want to do it. I was happy to keep Haaland. Foden, on the other hand, I would love to have swapped out. I would love to get rid of Foden. But on the face of that team, I was happy to captain Cancelo against Fulham as opposed to Salah against Spurs. And in that game, the early kickoff,
it's just one of those things.
When he got the red card, my rank plummeted from 1.1 million to like 1.6. And I was like, what is happening? My season's done. This is game over. But, alas, Trippier, Zaha, Salah, Castagna, again, what a hero. Andreas third in my bench, unfortunately, but still, I clawed back 56 points, and my red arrow was actually only like a 35k red arrow, which is nothing at the rank I'm at. I probably would have been green if I'd have got one more point. So for me, strangely, in a week that was an absolute disaster with Cancelo captain, I actually feel like I've won because it started so bad.
Yeah.
Basically after the
Exactly. It
first
was damage
kickoff,
limitation from that point in, right?
after
Exactly. It was
what,
damage
25
limitation.
minutes into the first kickoff, I was at 1.6k or 1.6 million, and now I'm back up to 1.1. So anyway, yeah, a mad game week.
No, it's one of those. I do think there are plenty of people who captain Cancelo, especially after the news came out that Haaland wasn't starting, and it was a perfectly good call. I mean, Cancelo, you'd probably back him to do well, especially once you heard the news early that Mitrovic was in the squad. I mean, this was a clean sheet that was going to happen, and it was just one silly mistake that happened. And City should have kept a clean sheet. In my opinion, they were in cruise control throughout the game. Had it not been for the red card, it's just one of those things. I mean, this was a 8-9 pointer for Cancelo, which just turned into a -2, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But again, it was a good call, but poor outcome.
Exactly. But anyway, happy Salah got that 15-pointer. So that's 3 goals in 2 games in the Premier League. And did he get one in the Champions League in between as well?
Yes, he did. He scored.
Salah's back
as well. Again, I mean, you look at his points this season. You say that he's been out of form, and KDB and Kane are smashing it. Yet he's like 11 points behind Kane and 8 behind KDB. So that's not terrible, right? He's done well in recent weeks. Again, it's almost as if he hasn't been as consistent as we expect him to be, but still, it's not as if he's been a complete disaster. That's how I would put it.
We're going to answer a few questions that we're going to pose to. I'm going to pose a few questions to you. We're going to answer them, and then we're going to do a few quickfire ones from the audience. So get your questions in, and then we're going to wrap up by looking at our teams going into next week, the final week before the World Cup. And I'm excited again, Bakar, before we go, and I'm sorry if this goes on just a small bit more. I forgot to say, it'd be nice to know what your World Cup plans are so people can follow you over the next month or two. Anyway, we're going to talk about the punts because this is a week of punting. We have essentially one more week, then a free wild card. It's not a wild card, it's unlimited transfers for the World Cup. It's a bloody wild card.
Exactly.
So everyone can go mad. I have 2 free transfers. I'm very excited. I still don't really know what to do, but if we're going to look at each position and a 1 week punt for each, I assume we're not going to make one a goalkeeper one because no one's going to waste transfers there, you'd imagine. If we look in defence, if you had to pick a 1 week punt for defence, if you were, I've got a bit of cash here of a defender I don't want, who are you bringing in? 1 week.
Perisic, I think. I think is likely to start in the front 3 again. Son is injured. Charleston's not around. So it's very likely that he starts again on the left of a 3-4-3 or maybe even a 3-5-2 depending on Kulusevski's fitness. If Kulusevski isn't fit, then it will be on the left. In a 3-4-3, and up front against Liverpool in the 3-5-2, he was very lucky. Very unlucky. He hit the post. He had 3 big chances of moments. He looked a guy who's made for FPL. I mean, I've been a fanboy since preseason. Things haven't really been great with him just because of the rotation worries, but I do think he's going to start this week. And if he's starting, there are plenty of people who are in the market for Dalot replacement. I think Perisic is a very good shout. At home to Leeds, it should be a good fixture for Spurs.
I'm just looking in defence, and I was going to say Cancelo with his red card. I believe a lot of people popped an early transfer out, even though he's actually going to be playing next week, isn't he? Because he misses a game in the Cup midweek.
That's right. He's going to be available for Brentford.
Let me see, transfers out. Yeah, 181,000 people have transferred out Cancelo. Isn't that mad?
Yeah.
Nearly 500,000 have got rid of Trent ahead of a Southampton game.
Again, I mean, he hasn't been performing, which is why. I mean, he's just been blanking left, right, and center, which is why. But I own Trent, and I'm very happy owning him into this week against managerless Southampton. I mean, no Hasenhuttl in charge. This should be a good picture for Liverpool, I think.
Liverpool off the back of a couple of impressive wins up against Southampton. Okay, whatever, new manager or no manager bounce, whatever it is. I don't know. Southampton have been at the end of a couple of 9-0ers in their time. This could be a romp. This could be a biggie.
I hope so. I mean, even if you own Salah and if he goes big, his ownership in the top 10,000 isn't that significant. So this could lift your rank.
Let's have a look at 1 week punts in midfield.
This is slightly trickier. I think Kulusevski is one I've mentioned. Again, depends on what Conte says in the press conference. Spurs in general, their numbers with and without Kulusevski are much different. With Kulusevski in the team, they tend to score around 2.5 goals per game as compared to 1.5 without him in the side. So he's definitely a massive improvement for Spurs in general ever since he's joined. Other than that, there's Foden, but again, you don't know whether it's going to start. Whether you want to risk leaving it late again is a subjective thing, and it's up to you to decide whether or not to wait. But whoever starts in the front three for City, I mean, whether it's Mahrez or Foden, again, will be a good shout. Even if Alvarez plays on the left, he's not a bad shout either. So these are the guys in midfield. There's Foden and Kulusevski are the ones I'd look at. Trossard even is a he's had 6 attacking returns in 7 games under De Zerbi. He was playing game week 15 as well. I think he was a central striker. So again, at home to Villa, there's a good chance that he does well again. Trossard is another very good shout.
I want to say there, City are the early kickoff again, aren't they? City are 12:30 against Brentford. Yeah. So this weekend, if you're in Ireland and want to go in Galway, there's like lots of FPL people meeting up, beer garden rented out, and watching football matches all day. Man City, Brentford, Liverpool, Southampton, Newcastle, Chelsea, Wolves, Arsenal, all day football. I mean, like, I've heard rumoured there could be around 50. Like, so there's a lot of people. So it's in Galway. If you're into that, give me maybe a wee DM on Twitter. My handle's below me. But yeah, midfield's a funny one this week, Bakar, because like when I look at my own team, like I have Phil Foden, I have 2 free transfers. He's up against Brentford, and you just know Pep's going to bloody play him. But I don't even know, like, I know there's all those punts you've just listed, but when I start looking around, getting rid of Foden, I could get rid of Foden, and then I've got like Wilson and Mitrovic, and I've got different issues around. I'd love to take the punt and use the cash from Foden. The problem is, I feel like if he plays, he's one of the best options of the week, so I might just leave him and hope.
See, this is it. I mean, again, if you wait for Foden team news, you leave yourself at the risk of the service crashing again. So it's a double-edged sword. It's not easy to decide, right? If I had Foden, it's similar to what I might do with Alvarez, because I'm not really sure whether it's worth waiting till the end.
I'm having a look there. There's so many little moves I could make, but that's to be decided.
There's Saka as well. I didn't actually name Saka because I mean, he's very highly owned, so I didn't really name him as a punt, but he's a very good option to get as well against Wolves if you don't own him.
Who's your best your punt for the forwards for the week?
I think Darwin Núñez is the best one. I do think at home to managerless Southampton. I do think he's going to do well.
So Núñez is the guy.
Yeah, his numbers are incredible. I mean, he's an XG monster this season. His shots per game are the best in all players in the league. I would go with Núñez if I could afford him.
Okay, so that leads on to the question, what do we do with Wilson and Mitrovic? Because they're likely 2 of the forwards people will be looking to shift out. You'll have to find a bit of cash to get up to Darwin, but I'm looking there. If I go Callum Wilson out to Darwin, I have minus 0.6, but then if I went Foden down to someone else for a week, or I could even like just absolutely like get rid of Martinelli or Zaha or someone for a week. Anyway, this is for me to stress about, but Mitrovic, Wilson, what are you doing?
I don't think either is a hard sell. I personally don't think Mitrovic will play this week because I'm of the thought that he's just been rested for Serbia, and World Cup is definitely on his mind. Fulham have started well, so I don't really see why Marco Silva would risk him this week. So yeah, I do think that he's going to be ruled out. Wilson, I think he's going to play because he was ill during the week, and Eddie Howe did confirm in his post-match presser that he just didn't have the energy to last the second half, which is why he didn't play the second half. So it was just one of those unfortunate ones. If I had Wilson, I think he's a perfectly good hold this week because Chelsea have conceded 6 goals in their previous 3 games. and Newcastle are ranked like third for XG at home, especially they score a lot of goals and they create a lot of chances. If I had Wilson, I think selling him is a bit of a luxury transfer because I do expect him to do well this week if he starts.
And what do we do like with Foden? Is Foden, in your opinion, we've kind of already mentioned it, but it's the last one to kind of seal off. Is he a hold?
Again, I mean, if you want to take the risk of the service crashing, you can probably afford to keep him. I think a bit of this depends on what happens in the Carabao against Chelsea as well. Let's say Foden gets like an extended period of time, if he plays there, that leaves that gives him a slightly lesser chance of starting in the league. So again, I think it comes down to that as well, and comes down to personal preference as to how much you want to risk it.
Bakar, I'm going to tell you something. There's 330 odd people here, and just 48 people have hit the like button. FPL Diamond's giving them a shout in the comments saying like the bloody video. Bakar, does it make you sad? How does it make you feel?
It doesn't make me feel great. So please, everyone, like the video, subscribe to the channel, make us happy.
Yeah, I mean, like it's not great, Bakar, is it? You know, no one wants to see Bakar cry. I don't want it to go there, but I feel like we're going that direction. So drop us some likes in there so Bakar doesn't have to cry live on stream, and we'll keep it moving. So Bakar, up next, what are we going to do? Do you want to do some quickfire questions?
Sure. But let's come to my team first, or do you want to do that later?
It's up to you. We can do them in either order. Okay.
Yeah, let's do the team first.
Let's do the team. Okay, so I'll pull your team up on the screen, and you can tell us. This is currently what you're looking at. You actually did send me through a screenshot of what you're looking at for next week, did you?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, well look, you're gonna have to just tell us about it because I haven't. I'll go work on pulling it up while you talk to us about what you're gonna do.
No worries. I mean, as of now, I have Pope in goal, Trippier in defense, Cancelo, Trent. So the defense is relatively settled. In midfield, I have Zaha, De Bruyne, Salah, Martinelli. I'm playing Andreas, assuming that Mitrovic is not going to make it. But again, this depends on the news that we get in the press conferences. Of course, I'll play Mitrovic if he's fit and bench Andreas. Up front, I have Solanke and Alvarez. And on the bench, I have Gehi, Neco Williams, and Mitrovic. Now, I have to prioritize bringing Haaland back. I have around 2 million in the bank to bring him in. I think the transfer is likely to be KDB and Alvarez out. Just reverse the moves that I make last week. Bring Haaland back, bring a midfielder. I can bring anyone under 8.5 million. Now that leaves me with the choice of Saka, Foden, Kulusevski. I think it's going to be between Saka and Foden. Again, depending on what happens in the cup and whether or not I feel as if Foden's going to start, I'll see. But I think Saka is the safest shout because I don't have any Arsenal attackers. Saka has significant ownership, so I think I'm likely to bring Saka into my team this week. He's on penalties, but again, let's see. If we get any news regarding City, then obviously I want to prioritize the third City attacker like I did last week. But these two moves are likely to be my moves, and Haaland will be my captain because I don't want to bet against his ownership at all. So Haaland captain and a midfielder in for De Bruyne. I want to keep Salah. I mean, there is the option of me selling Salah and keeping De Bruyne, but I want to have a piece of that Liverpool attack against Southampton, and Salah's in form, so I'll keep Salah.
Salah out, Alvarez out. No, I was going to go rogue there. That's absolutely not the best thing to do. So that's how you're looking. I like it, yeah, and I think like it's nice to have exposure to that Liverpool attack. So getting rid of Salah for like a Saka and then changing Alvarez to Haaland, yeah, I wouldn't be feeling too confident in that Southampton game after sort of Liverpool's change in form. Trent is a lot of money to have there, but it's Southampton, so it's a real luxury. Yeah, I mean, are you worried? The last thing I'll throw at you in the defence is, are you worried about the double Newcastle against Chelsea, or do you think Newcastle are just like a genuine top four side now?
Yeah, I mean, firstly coming to Trent, I don't think he's a problem because removing him will require a hit, right? And I just don't want to take a hit in the last week before the World Cup where I'll just have to get a clean sheet just to break even. So that doesn't make sense at all. I'll keep Trent and hope that Liverpool do well, which I expect them to. As far as Newcastle are concerned, they've conceded. Chelsea scored like just 2 goals in the previous 4 games. They're not in the best of forms. Newcastle's defensive statistics are still pretty far this week, and Southampton deserve to concede. But in general, Newcastle have been very solid this season, especially at home. I do think that there's a good chance that they can keep a clean sheet. I'm not too worried about them personally.
Okay. What I'm going to do is just get this website back and I'll bring you over to my site. Jeez, this is jumping everywhere, isn't it? There we go. So over to my team. If I go over to the transfer page or pick team, we can see how I'm set for going into the next week. I'm kind of in a position here now. I haven't even rejigged this at all. Other than moving the captaincy off Cancelo the minute he got the red card last week, because I was like, I'm not having him next week. I have 2 free transfers and I have a bit of money in the bank. I've got Mitrovic and I've got Wilson who are doubts, but I kind of like the rest of the balance of the team. I think I'm debating. I don't know whether to play Ward over Pope.
I'd play Pope this week because of the home fixture.
Pope? Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, look, Bakar, I'll listen to you. Every time I don't listen to you, something goes wrong. Salah. Here's another question. Salah or Haaland captain? And I know it's Haaland and we all want to captain him, but Salah against Southampton off the back of a 15-pointer.
Yeah, Salah is a very good option. I mean, I don't think there's too much between them this week. I will personally go with Haaland, but I don't think there's much between them. If you want to go with Salah, he's a perfectly good choice as well.
I don't know. I might switch that late in the game. Do you know what it is? I'm at 1.1 million. It'd be nice to see Haaland get a blank and then Salah to score a ton, and then all of a sudden I'm at 700k going into the break.
But I at this point, I just like to remind you that Brentford, they're very poor as well away from home. We talk about Southampton, but Brentford, they've conceded like 11 goals in their previous 3 games. They're in the previous 3 away games. So away from home, the defensive underlying statistics aren't that great either. I expect City to score 3 or 4 this week. So when I expect City to do that, then there's no point not captaining Haaland when Haaland's going to start. So something I can't get behind.
Wilson, you reckon's a hold. Mitrovic is there against United. So if we're thinking of transfers, let's go over and have a bit of fun. If I get rid of Mitrovic, I've got 7.8 million in the bank. I also have another free transfer. I have so many things I could do. A better defender would be nice for this week, you know. But going Mitrovic up to Darwin Núñez would just be a dream come true, wouldn't it? That's like, whew. Calm down, John. That's illegal.
That's a very good transfer. I mean, there's also another high upside player you can go for. You can just sell one of your defenders for Perisic, as we spoke about earlier.
Cancelo down to Perisic?
Not Cancelo.
I know. I just don't have the money because all my defenders are quite budget. I could go I could get rid of Foden and go down to is there another Man City midfielder worth less than 7.2 that's like a wee, maybe for 1 week, John? Don't mind if I do. I don't know.
There's also the option. There's also the option of you downgrading, let's say, if Mitrovic is out, Mitrovic to Solanke and someone in defense to Perisic. That's a good transfer, I think.
Yeah. Or, I don't know. Bakar, I'll work this out later in the week. Very quickly, we're going to do some quickfire questions. Help us out in the comments, guys. Hit us there with yes or no style questions, or A or B, and Bakar is going to answer as many as he possibly can in 5 minutes, and then we're going to wrap up and hit the road. While people are starting to submit their questions, Bakar, and everyone, do us a favour, do get them in, because that makes us able to do it. We need questions to answer. Bakar's going to try and set a record, and there might be a free hub subscription up for grabs. If you want 30% off a hub subscription, use the link below. You can also sign up for free and test some of the features. Bakar, what are your plans for the World Cup, content-wise?
I will be playing the game. I will be doing some content like I did for the Euros as well. I just can't keep myself away from fantasy football, so I'll be playing the game, doing the team reveals for the hub, and writing the wildcard articles as well. So I'll most definitely. I'll be posting on Twitter as well. So count me in for the World Cup fantasy.
Unreal. I think I'll be playing as well. I'll be probably putting some content out here, yet to be decided what the story is with content, but we'll be putting out content for sure of some description, and I'd personally be playing Sorare's World Cup game when it comes on my own channels, so I'll be up the walls over the World Cup. I can't wait. But Bakar, give us a guess. How many questions do you think you're going to answer today? If you get if you get this right, a free membership to someone in the audience.
48.
48. Okay, so you're going all guns blazing, is what you're telling me.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to start asking questions. Bakar, best of luck. If I ask you the same one twice, just plow through. That's a free.
Sure.
That's a gimme. And if I panic, I might make one up. All right, 3, 2, 1. KDB to Salah.
Not if you're not going to captain.
KDB or Haaland.
Haaland.
Mitrovic or Darwin.
Darwin.
Wilson or Darwin.
Darwin.
Firmino for Mitrovic.
No.
Firmino and Foden to Darwin and Bernardo.
I won't get Bernardo. No.
Wilson or Darwin. No hit.
Probably. I mean, if you have nothing better to do.
Okay. These are all the same. Messi, Vinny or Neymar for your World Cup team.
Messi.
Rashford, hold or sell.
Hold.
Andreas or Guehi. Gehi, who do you play?
Andres, especially if Mitrovic is out, as he's going to be in penalties.
Jesus or Kane? Jesus to Kane? Question mark.
If you have nothing better to do, then probably yes. But I think Jesus is a perfectly good hold. No need to sell.
Alvarez to Haaland.
Yes.
Wilson out, Firmino in.
No.
Tony or Wilson?
Wilson.
Martial for a week.
Not a bad shot. Very good punt. Yeah, I like it. I think he's going to start against Fulham.
Oh God. Okay. Eze or Iwobi?
Eze.
Darwin, Perisic or Trent for a 1 week punt.
Probably Darwin.
Should I transfer out Kane for Salah?
It will require a hit, so I'm not sure I'd take a hit to do that. I don't think it makes sense, especially if you're going to captain Haaland.
Kane and KDB to Haaland and Salah for -4.
Yes, I like it.
7 million. Oh no, Firmino to Nunez.
Yes.
Mbuemo and DCL or Darwin and Edward.
Edward was not available this week, so I'm not really sure whether he's going to be fit.
Saka, Xhaka, Skamaka, Daka or Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Saka, okay. Rashford to Fernandes.
No.
Jesus or Solanke.
Jesus.
Jesus to Kane for free or Grealish to Salah for a -4.
If Grealish is not starting, then sell him.
Perisic or Rashford.
Perisic.
Mitrovic to Solanke or Wilson to Jesus.
Mitrovic to Solanke.
Wilson and Guehi out, Trent and Greenwood in.
Not a bad use of transfers. Yeah, decent.
Jesus to Kane or Grealish to, I've asked that. Mbuemo, oh God, they're all repeating themselves. Stop repeating yourselves. Anderson or Dunk.
Dunk.
Zuma or Smith.
Zuma.
Skamaka for Martial.
Yes, good move.
Alvarez to Haaland.
Yes.
Pope to Sa.
No, I would keep Pope.
Eze or Firmino.
Eze.
Foden to Trossard.
Yes, that's a good transfer. Foden isn't playing.
Darwin and Perisic for Mitro and Trippier.
I don't think I'd buy Trippier this week.
No, so it's Darwin and Perisic out. Mitrovic and Trippier. No! I'm wasting your time. Move on. Zaha or Rashford?
Zaha.
Kane to Salah.
2 transfers involved. I won't take a hit if you're not captaining Salah.
Andreas or Shaw?
Andreas.
Müller for the World Cup?
Sorry?
Müller for the World Cup?
Yeah.
Castagna, yay or nay?
Nay.
John or Pranel?
I'm not answering that.
Careful. Foden or Trossard?
Trossard.
Come on. Foden to Kulusevski?
If Foden isn't starting, then yes.
Come on. Mitrovic to Martial?
Yes.
Foden to Gray.
No.
Wilson to Nunez.
Good move.
Rice or
Nothing
potatoes?
else. Rice.
Potatoes.
Right.
All right, 5 minutes up. So that is a grand total. You predicted 48. You got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. 45. All in. Hit the post again. And I think I screwed you because I delayed at one stage because I kept getting repeat questions.
Yeah, it's a tough job, though. It's a tough job. I don't blame you. It's perfectly fine.
It's tough. So, Bakar, we can find you over the World Cup making content on your handle below your head at BigManBakar. You can find me here at John Nellis. Let's go get some green arrows, Bakar. I want to see you in the top 300k. I want to see me in the top million. If I'm in the top million, when I see you again, things have gone to plan.
I bloody hope so.
Drop a like on your way out. Subscribe to Fantasy Football Hub. Thank you for being here. You can find us on socials, and we will see